Okay. Hello. Hi. So sorry, I had some technical issues. This was meant to be like more like a webinar, like only you seeing me, but there was something not working. So that's why now you see yourself as well, and I see you. So I will ask all the participants to please mute themselves. That way the registration or the recording will be only of me, so it won't be jumping from one person to the other. And you can also, of course, turn off your video just to be sure, if you don't want to be recorded at all. Now, first of all, welcome to this online session. I'm very happy to have you here. So some of you perhaps already know me, that my name is Alex, first of all. For those of you who don't know me, I've been teaching yoga for about 10 years now, and it's since COVID, I am also holding some online sessions, so almost 5 years now. And I created this virtual studio now just to kind of give my students a better experience, to put it all together between the YouTube and the private sessions and group sessions and writing each other and everything. I just found it to be a more concentrated place, focused place where we can all get to know each other and practice together. So, welcome. This is my virtual yoga studio. It's called Moving with Intention. With intention in the sense of being mindful, the intention of being here and now, being present as we move or as we meditate, and perhaps whatever other intention you might have in the moment. Now, I will avoid speaking too much. Be sure to have perhaps a couple of blocks, if you do have, like I have over here, more or less, and a yoga belt. As always, an option is to have 2 books that are about the same height. They don't have to be this height. They can also be higher, depending on what we're using them for. And a yoga belt can be substituted with like a scarf or like a regular belt or something like that. Now, if you stay with me till the end of the session and you don't log off right away, I will give you like a promo code for your first membership. It's not like really a promo code, it's more like a welcome thank you code for you, as to have you here practicing with me today. So be sure to stay till the end to get that. Now, last thing I will mention is I saw some of you who are logged in most likely are Italian. So if you are wondering if there will be any Italian sessions in the future, yes, there will actually be a completely Italian session. So it will be the same platform, but kind of divided, even if you can see that it's divided in Italian section and English session. And of course, if you want, you can also use it all. So that's it. If you need to get out your props if you want to put on some chill music, burning an incense, anything to make it feel a little bit more like a sacred place, like your moment, your time. This is the moment. Okay, so we are gonna begin the session in a child's pose. So having our knees on the mat, big toes together, the knees might be slightly distanced between one another. We're gonna walk our hands forward until we can rest the forehead on the ground and even relax the forearms down. Now let's take a moment here and trying to just move the whole body down. Notice how it feels to be here in this moment, in this position. Now become slightly more aware of your breathing. Perhaps feeling your belly expand towards your legs. Notice if you feel it in your back as well. We're beginning to slowly spread the fingers wide, pushing the hands down, lifting the elbows up. At the same time, we are starting to breathe a bit deeper. In through the nose and out through the nose. With the next inhale, we're gonna come up to a tabletop position. Maybe just moving the knees so we have them right underneath the hips. And we're gonna begin to shift our weight slightly forward, so it doesn't have to be a full knee plank. It can just be shifting the weight beyond the hands and then back again, maybe even further back than the knees. And so we're gonna move back and forth like this. Now remember to have your fingers spread wide and pushing down the fingertips as well. So it's not just your wrists getting all the weight, but you're using the whole hands. And one more time. And then as we move back from here, we're gonna tuck the toes and lift the hips up into downward facing dog. Now have your knees slightly bent to begin with, focusing more on lengthening the spine, waking up the shoulders. And then perhaps beginning to peel out the feet. So lengthening one leg at a time. Feel free to stay on each side for a couple of breaths. Rather be a bit slower than faster. feeling into the moment. And from here back to center. Inhale, lift your gaze, your heels. Exhale, slowly release your knees down. From here, we're going to come down onto our forearms. Now we want to have our elbows right underneath the shoulders. So for this, we're going to grab a hold onto our triceps right above the elbows. And so from there, we can then connect the palms of the hands. We're going to walk the knees slightly back, hands point up. And let your head and your chest rest down. So if your forehead reaches the ground, feel free to rest it down. If it's far above the floor and if it's uncomfortable, you can also take a block and place it flat right here in between your elbows so you have something to rest your forehead on. A few more breaths. And then begin to lift your head, walk the knees forward perhaps as you lower your forearms down. Knees closer to each other. We're gonna see if we can sit back onto the heels. And then from here, bring the hands behind us, interlacing the fingers. We're gonna roll the shoulders back. Then trying to distance the hands from the body. So we open up the chest a bit, maybe we'll lift the chin, but at the same time we draw the low belly in so we're not just flaring everything open. Continue to take deep breaths. And then as you exhale again, release your hands down to the ground. Back into a tabletop position. From here, we are gonna lengthen our right leg back. Gonna have the toes onto the ground to begin with. Then slowly slide the toes to the left without shifting the weight. You see, I did not move over to the left with the rest of the body. Only the foot went as far as it could to the left without me having to move the rest of the body. Now, between the hands, I'm going to shift the weight onto the left hand. So everything's on the left side, but I'm trying to stay above the knee and the hand. And I'm going to come up onto the right fingertips, slide them forward, and then maybe to the left. And I'm going to see if I can sneak peek back towards the foot. Doesn't matter if you can see it or not. So we are trying to open up the right side of the body right now. At the same time, we are strengthening the left side, and you might already feel this in your shoulder or in your glute. And then exhale, come back to looking forward. Release your hand back to its place beneath its shoulder. And we're going to just bend the right leg so they are now crossed. We have the right leg behind the left. And we make sure that the feet are out to the side and the hands are under the shoulders. keeping them glued onto the mat there so they won't move around. I'm gonna just move our weight back, so shifting the hips back, and the left knee will probably lift off the floor, and you can stay wherever it feels a good point to stay for you. So maybe you sit all the way back, maybe you're somewhere in between like I am, maybe you're further up. Anywhere that makes you feel like, here I do feel something. It's not too much. And you want to breathe. So we try to stay present with all those uncomfortable sensations. And so having the hands glued onto the mat, we're now going to use them to kind of pull ourselves up again. Back onto the knees. And lengthening the right leg back again. Toes down for now. We're going to just shift the left shin back. Turning the right heel to the left and lengthening the right arm up overhead. Now what's important is the left elbow. We're not just pushing it forward, not just hanging into that elbow. It's slightly bent and it's pointed towards the leg. Then you can choose to either stay here or try to lift the right leg up to hip height. Engaging up front core. And one more breath. And then we're gonna begin to look down. See if you can bring that right foot all the way to the top of the mat. Now it might get stuck somewhere in between, in the middle. You can use the right hand perhaps to pull it up to the top of the mat. So this is a good place to use the blocks beneath your hands. Now we want to walk the left knee as far back as it goes. And here we have a low lunge or Anjaneyasana. Just let your hips sink as you breathe through this position as well. Notice the position of your head while you're here. So I know that a lot of people, especially if they're new to the practice, tend to kind of just drop the head forward. And we want to avoid that. You don't need to look up a whole lot, just keep the head neutral. And we're going to begin to just very gently shift the hips, or kind of roll the hips actually, a little bit sideways. See if we can loosen up something else. It's perfectly fine to just be still if it's too much to move around. Perhaps so if you are moving, notice if there is more tightness as you roll to the outer edge or rolling inwards. How does this side feel? And do you feel more in the left psoas, which is usually what we target in this position? Or do you feel somewhere in the left groin or hip? In the right, sorry. Do you feel it in the right groin? Now we're gonna come back to stillness. Shift the hips back a little bit and try to bring that knee back into child's pose for a moment. So the beginning position for today. just resting. If your hands or your wrists are tired, feel free to open and close your hands a few more times while you're here. And we're gonna move back into our tabletop position. Again, knees right beneath the hips. Be strong in your shoulders here. We're gonna reach the left leg back, toes on the ground. And then without moving the rest of the body, we move the left toes to the right. Trying to bring the weight onto the right hand, now coming up onto the left fingertips, sliding that hand forward. Now this is perfectly fine to stay here if it was hard to balance with the hand moving as well, but if you can, slide a hand to the right and then try to look over or beyond the arm, beyond the shoulder, towards the left foot. Same thing for the elbow here, of the active arm. We're not just hanging in the joint, we are using the muscles by actually bending the elbow slightly and turning the elbow towards the back of the mat. And that's how we can, a person with hypermobility can benefit from yoga and stabilize the joint rather than hurting ourselves. Okay, we're gonna begin to look forward again. Slowly bring the left hand beneath the shoulder so you can place the weight onto both hands, and then just bend the left leg. The legs are now crossed, feet out to the sides, hands right underneath the shoulders. We're gonna glue them onto the mat as we shift the weight back, and the right knee will now lift, maybe, off the floor. Does this side feel just as the same as the first side? Is it somehow different? And we begin to use the hands glued onto the mat to draw ourselves back up onto the knees. We're going to lengthen the left leg back again, toes down for now, and just point the right shin down, back. Turning the left heel to the right, we begin to reach the left arm up overhead. And then maybe lifting that leg up to hip height. So no need to go higher than that. Engage your front core. You want to be able to see the front of your leg if you are able to look down towards the left foot. And now let's see if we can bring the left foot to the top of the mat. So once your knee is as far as you can draw it forward, you can use the hand either around the knee, the ankle, maybe the foot itself, and see if you can bring it to the top of the foot. Walk the right knee as far back as it goes. And you want the whole sole of the foot onto the ground there. Don't be shy to grab a couple of blocks here. It's not always about how capable we are to do things, that we do or do not use props. It's also depending on how we feel in the moment. If we want to reach into a different place, like perhaps coming up a little bit higher onto the hands would mean open up a different place of the psoas than being down here. Are you somehow holding on to breath? Or can you be here and feel it all? And then again, maybe just stay here in stillness. So try to move your hips slightly side to side. See if we can loosen up something else. And since we were observing the first side, how it felt, if it was tighter on the inner or outer side, or as we move from side to side, is this side of the body the same? Does it feel completely different? And then we slowly come back to center. Move your hips slightly back, and then from here, bring the left leg back. Again, we rest into child's pose. And while we're here, maybe we take a moment to just move the hands open and close, or kind of circle the wrists, depending on if your hands were on the floor, on the blocks. Let's get straight into downward facing dog. So with the hands on the mat, we inhale up to tabletop, we tuck our toes, and we exhale up to downward facing dog with the legs bent. Always legs bent as you enter downward facing dog. And then you can always straighten them out if you want to. From here, we're going to walk the hands back, so shift all the weight onto the feet. Hands onto the shins. We inhale into Ardha Uttanasana, and then exhale Uttanasana, forward fold. Having the belly connected to the thighs. Maybe we even cross the arms. So it doesn't matter if your legs are just a tiny bit bent or if they're a whole lot bent, whatever you need in order to have that connection between belly and thigh. And then exhale, release your hands, bend your legs even further, begin to look forward. So we find a neutral spine, and then from here we inhale all the way up to standing, reaching the arms up overhead, and exhale, hands to prayer. So hands together in front of the heart. Now from here, we are gonna begin to shift the weight onto the right foot. And we're gonna see if we can place the left foot onto either the calf, like here, like I'm doing with the knee pointing out. We can also help the foot by grabbing the ankle, placing the foot to the inner thigh. So maybe we have the hands to the waist to begin with, to the hips here, to find some balance. We want to be in a neutral line, so we're not sideways here. And we even engage the front core a bit. And once we are balanced, we can bring the hands in front of the heart. Now, it usually helps to find something to concentrate on, to focus on in front of you about the height of your eyes. And if you want to get even deeper, begin to reach your arms up. You can keep the palms connected. Your shoulders are down, just the arms extend up. This will mean you'll have to engage your front core a bit further. And then exhale, hands move back onto in front of the heart. Begin to detach the foot from the leg, but bring the knee in front of you. You can just stay here if this is hard enough, or exhale, try to extend the left leg forward. And then exhale again, slowly bring the foot down onto the floor. You can even release your arms. Take a moment here so we are actually at the back of the mat like this. You can even close the eyes, just stay here for a moment. Notice perhaps the different sensations in the two legs. Might feel the right leg being a bit more active as it was holding everything up. Notice how your breath feels. And the expression of your face. Try to soften everything. Now slowly begin to blink the eyes back open. If you took a wider stance between the feet, slowly walk them closer towards one another and begin to shift the weight onto the left foot. Maybe the hands already onto the hips here. Begin to bring the right sole of the foot onto the left leg, whether it's on the calf or inner thigh with the help of the hand if so. So we just want to avoid pushing on the knee to the inside of the knee. Besides that, we can have it at any height. Once we've found balance, let's then bring the hands in front of the heart. Remember to find that point at the height of your eyes to focus on. Maybe you choose to stay here. Ooh, maybe the side is completely different for you as well. I've always had less balance on my left foot. Or maybe we begin to reach your arms up. And it's okay to fall out of positions. We're not looking for perfection, but for an experience. Exhale, slowly bring the hands down onto in front of the chest. Lift the right knee in front of you so the foot is now free. Either stay here or by engaging your core, try to extend the right leg forward as high up as you can. And then exhale again. Bring the foot down onto the floor. Take a wider stance between the feet. Relax your arms. Maybe just swaying slightly side to side. You don't need to close the eyes necessarily this time. Create some gentle movements. And then come back to stillness. We're gonna come down onto the floor. So you can do this however you prefer, or we have one leg in front of the other, not too far away. We bend both legs, so the back leg will then have the knee down, other knee come down. And now from here, we can sit onto the side. Make sure to have the belt or scarf or whatever you have close by so you don't have to get up again to get it. We are on the side, we slide down all the way with the arm above the head, and then we can roll back to the center of the mat. Okay, so from here, let's bring the knees to the chest. And so the arms wrap around. We might rock from side to side, but you don't have to. So if it's uncomfortable for your back, perhaps if you have spinal fusion, I remember the first times, for me it was really uncomfortable. I could feel all the screws until I built some strength in the back. And so if you're rocking, perhaps coming back to stillness. Now we begin to place the right foot down, grab your belts. Bring the belt around the ball of the left foot. And then you want the left arm to the inside of the knee. Grab around the belt as close as you can to the foot. Actually, if you know you can do this position without the belt, you can do so by just grabbing around the outer edge of the foot. But we are holding the belt close to the foot otherwise. And we're gonna begin to kind of lift the foot up above the knee. At the same time, the knee moves down towards the floor at the outside of the arm. And so if you're up here, you can always just slide the hand further away. But it's a bit harder to get closer to the foot. Then we're gonna just let the right knee drop out to the side. And these are actually two different positions on the two sides of the body. And begin to then bend the leg. Bring the right knee up and bring the left ankle onto the right knee. You can just remove the belt for now. Flex the left foot all the time. And you can either stay here with both hands, kind of push a little bit onto your thighs. This will already open up your left hip a bit. Or you can lift the right foot off the floor, bringing the legs closer to you, left arm passes in between, and grab around your right either knee or behind the thigh. And while we're here, we can perhaps circle out the right foot a few times, first in one direction, and then we change direction. And slowly come back to stillness with the right foot. And bring that foot back onto the ground. Bring the arms along the body. Walk the shoulder blades beneath you. And we're going to try to press the right foot down and lift the hips up a bit. So maybe it's just an inch or two off the floor, or maybe we manage to lift the hips all the way up to create almost a straight line here from the collarbones to the right knee. And it doesn't matter. And then slowly we exhale, move down, resting the sacred bone, the hips back onto the ground. And the left foot. You can already prepare the belts with your hands. Now lifting the right foot here, placing the belts behind the ball of the foot. So remember the arm here, the right arm is on the inside of the knee. We're going to begin to align the ankle with the knee. So the leg is in a 90-degree angle. That's what we're working towards. And we just let the left knee, the left leg here, fall out to the side. One more breath. Then we begin to loosen the grip around the belt. At the same time, we'll lift the left knee up so we can then place the right ankle on top of that left knee. Remove the belt. Keep flexing the foot here, or maybe you stay here, hands pushing onto the thighs. Or maybe you bring the legs closer to the right arm passes in between into a figure 4. And we slowly release the grip around that knee or thigh so we can place the left foot down, arms along the body, shoulder blades beneath us. And then we try to press the left foot down enough to lift the hips off the floor, whether it's just a little bit or we manage to lift all the way up to create that line again. Now, if you have a left lumbar curve with or without spinal fusion, try to bring the right hip away from you. So moving the right hip towards the foot. And then exhale slowly down. Bring the right foot down onto the floor. Reach both legs up towards the ceiling. And now flex the feet as much as you can. So maybe your legs are leaning forward, that's okay. It just means that your abs will have to be more engaged. You can bend the legs, that's okay. We're actually trying to stretch the calf, so you can be here as well. If you can, keep them all the way up, and then point your feet, and then again flex. And a few more times. Point and flex. Point and flex. And then slowly just relax the legs, bringing the feet down onto the floor. So you can either stay here, walking the feet out a little bit to the edges of the mat. So you can connect the knees and relax the body with the arms along the body and the palms facing up. But traditionally, we end in a position called Shavasana, which is actually corpse pose in English. So it's just a simple position, being on your back with the arms facing, the hands facing up. So you take a moment to get yourself comfortable. And then let's just take a deeper breath, inhaling with the nose. And then slowly exhaling with the nose. At the same time, we close the eyes and we begin to relax as much as we can. Come back to breathe naturally. Just relax. Bring awareness to your head. So without moving the head or anything, just aware of the existence of your head. That includes the circumference of the head, your face. Now bring awareness to your throat. Maybe you notice the air passing through as you breathe. Now bring awareness to your arms. From the shoulders all the way down to your fingertips. Move awareness to your torso. So the chest, the upper back, the sides of the rib cage, but also the low back and belly. And then bring awareness to your legs, from your hips and glutes all the way down to your toes. And lastly, become aware of your whole body at the same time. Your whole body, from your head out to the hands, all the way down to your feet. And then release. Relax your mind, let it be free and do whatever it wants to do. You can even let your mind think if it wants to think. And from here, we begin to bring awareness back to the moment. So this means to the body, as well as the place where the body is in, or that realm. Could be what we call this room, this space. And so to do that, perhaps we notice the ground beneath us. And we still have the body completely still. What can we sense? What are the points of contact between the body and the floor? What sounds can we hear? And just being aware of the different sounds. No need to identify what sound it is. Notice all the different sounds. The ones that are closer, maybe even in the room you're in, or in the apartment, house, or building, as well as the different sounds that are further away out on the street. And maybe we even visualize the room we're in. Just taking a time to really let the mind come back to the moment. And from here, to slowly wake up the body, we might wiggle the toes and move the fingers. Keep your eyes still closed. And we slowly roll onto the right side of the body. Just taking a moment here. And then usually we use the left hand to push ourselves up into a seated position from here. Feel free to grab a block, a blanket, or anything to sit on top of or wrap around you. Find the stillness again. And from here we connect the palms in front of the heart. Now this is a great moment to set an intention. Anything you'd like to manifest. Anything you'd like to grow within yourself. Or simply giving thanks. And from my heart to yours, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for practicing with me today. And now you're welcome to blink the eyes back open if they're still closed. And just take a moment before you go about your day. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning of the session, I do have a gift for you, for those of you who are still here. Usually the session ends here. But I wanted to give you that thank you code if you want to subscribe. And as a thank you for you being here today, opening this virtual yoga studio with this group session. So there will be more products coming in the future, meaning the products are the different kinds of subscriptions. For now, there are the most basic ones, which are the monthly subscription and the yearly subscription. And so for those, I do have a promo code, and the promo code for the monthly subscriptions are only available, or they expire within a week. So you have to use it within this week. You're free to give it away to someone else as well. It doesn't matter. I'm just happy for more people to join anyways. Then we have the yearly subscription, which will be available for 2 weeks before it expires. Same thing, you're free to give it away to anyone. I just ask you not to post it perhaps on social media. You can give it away to your friends, to your family, anything like that. And so I wrote it down to just make it more simple. Let's see if I can show you. So for the monthly subscription, I hope you can see this. The code is welcome. It's all capped. How do you say caps? Big letters, basically. So welcome _ new 15. For the yearly subscription, it's welcome _ new 30. So it does reflect, the number does reflect the amount of percentage of discount. So of course the yearly subscription has a bigger discount if you want to prefer that one. Anyways, I hope to see you again soon. Thank you so much for joining, and remember that you can actually save this platform as an application in your phone. Usually when you enter via your phone, it does ask you, do you want to save this to your home screen or something like that? And if you say yes, it will save it as an app in your phone. But if you sign in and if you have a subscription, then there is somewhere in the settings you should be able to do it from there also. Okay, thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your weekend, your day, your evening, whatever it is. Shanti, shanti, shanti.